What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Work the Crowd podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Douglas Harden, as always, joined here by Coach Jacob Lucas. That always gets me. Today, we're going to be going over live the final picks for college football playoff, the rankings, final rankings. So it's getting ready to get started here. We're going to watch it, and we're going to do kind of like a live reaction and see what we think about it. But before that gets started, do you want to go through and say what you think yours might be?
Yeah, I mean, in all honesty, I think it's going to end up being number 1 Indiana. 2, I think it's still going to be Ohio State, but I could see them moving Georgia to 2 and Ohio State 3, which we'll get into all the conference championship games after this selection show.
Okay.
But I think it'll 2 or 3, flip-flop, whatever you want to do, Georgia, Ohio State. We'll just say that. Doesn't matter how you want to put it. I think 4 will be Texas Tech, 5, Oregon, 6, Ole Miss, 7, Texas A&M. Now, they could put Texas A&M at 6 and Ole Miss 7 and drop Ole Miss down 1 just because they're not going to have Lane Kiffin. They've said that they would look into not having a head coach. Either way, they're in, obviously, but whether they're
Right.
6, or whether they're 7 or 8. So, yeah, we'll just go 6 Ole Miss, 7 A&M, 8 Oklahoma. And then this 9 through 12 is where it's going to get tricky. The spot to pay attention to will be this number 10 spot. Because I think they're gonna at bare minimum jump Notre Dame over Alabama since Alabama lost the SEC title game. So I think number 9 is going to be Notre Dame. Number 10 is going to be this tricky spot. And this is going to tell you a lot because the committee's been telling everybody they don't count conference championship games against people. So if you do that and you still live by that, then Alabama's going to be 10. And why I say the 10 spots, because 11 and 12 with Duke, as we wanted to happen, won the ACC championship. There will be no ACC champion representative in the playoffs because that's going to be taken up by Tulane and JMU because they're the 5 highest conference champions. So, yes, we are going to have a college football playoff with 2 non-group of 5s.
Yep.
So JMU and Tulane will lock up the 11 and 12 spot. Now, if this committee wants to justify the right way of having Notre Dame in there at 9, this 10 spot, they're going to have Miami. But that's going to create a lot of controversy. And if you're the committee, I'm not saying that they're going to make their decision just based off controversy, but you're going to have to look at it and go, which is more justifiable? Putting Notre Dame in and putting Miami in because Miami won the head-to-head, or putting Notre Dame in and leaving Alabama in because we said conference championships don't affect your playoffs and leaving Miami out when Miami beat Notre Dame head-to-head. I don't know. I think this is about to get really interesting.
Yep.
Because like I said, 1 through 9, however you want to rank them, we know the 9 teams, okay? Out of the 10, or I'll just say at least out of the 10, because if they don't put Notre Dame at 9, if they leave them at 10, okay, whatever, then the 9 spot's the one to watch out for, whatever you want to do. 9 out of the 10 teams in the top 10, we know who they are. It's just how they rank them. And then we know who 11 and 12 are. It's going to be Tulane and JMU.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really curious to see how they go. Honestly, I think it's going to be that 9 and 10. All the rest I would agree with, whichever. I think everybody's had that marked down.
Yeah, it's just
I think they move. Yeah, I think they put Alabama in at 10 and they put Notre Dame in at 9. I think ultimately that's what they do.
Because now you got to look at it from now let's look at it from the typical, like, where people, like, the bias kicks in. Okay, we don't leave SEC teams out. So the clear cut thing to do would be just leave Bama in. Well, Again, now we go down to, all right, so head to head means absolutely nothing. So, but now here's my argument with head to head though as well. Head to head does matter when you played each other. But I also think the timing in which you two played each other matters as well. Because while head to head does matter, those two played at the first game of the year. These are 2 completely different football teams since then.
Yeah, they are.
So I think when you're talking about head-to-head, if you played within the first 3 games of the year, I'm not saying it doesn't matter. Head-to-head does matter. But I do understand the committee looking at it and going, this is why we sway this way, because you played at the beginning of the year. Like, Yeah, I get it, but you're a completely different football team. And also, you also have to kind of look at it and go, if you are a completely different football team from the beginning of the year, all right, if this is the way you almost have to look at it, especially first game of the year. If we lined you up on a neutral field, who wins right now? And I think the consensus would say Notre Dame would win right now. So
Yeah, that's why they've all I've heard a lot of people talk about this. They're like, we need to have plans instead of actual like committee selection. Let's actually go ahead and like let these teams play. Screw the conference championships. If there's a tie going on right now, like with let's just say Miami and Notre Dame, let them play.
well,
Winner
here would
gets
be
to
my
go.
thing. What I'm not saying screw the conference championships, but let's just say we take realistically, because when I've been doing my rankings, I eliminate teams as we go because we know who pretty much is going to be in and who's not at this
Yeah.
point. By as we dwindle down. Let's just say 16 is the sweet number, right? We take all the teams playing in the conference championship games. So yesterday you would have had, Georgia, Bama, Virginia, Duke, Ohio State, Indiana, Texas Tech, BYU. So you take all those teams out that are already playing games yesterday. I say that's where you use the play-in games. Now I want to play almost a play-in style. The rest of those top 16 teams that aren't playing conference championship weekend, y'all go play each other. So one, you have a game to lose that weekend. You're not just sitting at home. Because like we talked about last night, Bama had a better chance of making the playoffs if they just stayed home and not played in the SEC championship. They'd have been a lock for the playoffs.
Yeah.
But now because they lost, there is a strong possibility that they don't make it. And so now I don't know how you could figure it out, but I need those other teams that aren't playing conference championship weekend to let's schedule a game. Once we get to that point, it's almost like playoff style. If you're the third ranked team in the country and you're not playing a conference championship game that weekend or something like Oregon's top 5, not playing conference championship. All right, let's go schedule a game against you versus Vanderbilt or something for this weekend.
But why would they agree to that if they're already top 5?
Because this is your playoff play-in.
Yeah, but they're already in though. A playoff plan needs to be for the teams that are on the bubble, not for the teams that are already in.
You got to include everybody though as well. That's going to be the problem.
No one would agree to that. If Oregon's already ready to rank 5, they're not.
No, I agree. Nobody those other teams that are on the playoff bubble aren't going to agree to play if everybody else isn't going to play. Because if I'm Vanderbilt and let's just say if I'm Vanderbilt, I'm on the bubble. Why would I agree to play when losing eliminates me? But right now I still have a chance to make the playoff without playing a game.
Well, you play against one of the other teams like Notre Dame or Miami. That's what they tried to do.
I don't know how they make that work, but
I think they give it up as an option.
But also the other thing is, at the end of the day, we've got to have a more the playoff works, okay? Just the 12 team. If they want to move it to 14 or 16 teams later down the road, whatever. But the playoff in itself works. We've got to have a better, clear description of what are the qualifications to make the playoffs.
Yeah, that's
because
for sure.
Every year it's something different. One year it's, we put this team in because of head-to-head matchups. All right, well, then the next year that same scenario comes up and we don't use that logic anymore. Then the next year we go, it's all about your resume. It's all about your totality of your resume. And then the next year we don't use it. And then the next year it's strength of schedule. It's all about your strength of schedule and how many tough opponents do you play. And then the next year we just don't use it. There's got to be more of a clear cut. This is what happens honestly when you don't have commissioners for.
There's no.
When you're letting and not only that, you're letting athletic directors run this essentially. I mean if that ain't the most biased thing in the world. Yeah. I don't know what is. So
they need to just let Nick Saban do it.
Don't disagree, but I don't know. I really wish they'd hurry this up though and get through this. Get to announcing these playoff teams. But
hey, they got to go through all the fluff.
But I guess while we wait, we can talk a little bit about the conference championship games. So started the day Friday actually started the conference championships off. Tulane beat North Texas to secure their spot in the college football playoff, winning the American. So hats off to Tulane. Then we started off yesterday. Texas Tech, once again, blew the doors off BYU. A little bit shocked about that. I didn't think BYU was going to go twice with getting the doors beat off them. But I guess that just goes to show how good Texas Tech actually is. What?
They,
They're
I mean,
actually hold on. They're actually over here interviewing Duke as a chance to make the. There is absolutely no way in hell that they are actually considering Duke. They have an ESPN reporter live in Durham as Manny Diaz makes his case for CFP. Get the hell out of here. What are we doing? Anyways, but yeah, so Texas Tech, I guess that just goes to show how good Texas Tech really is.
no, yeah, they're real deal.
Then we had SEC title game where Kirby Smart and Georgia exercised their demons against Alabama in the SEC title game, winning by 21. James Madison beat Troy as well early in the day in the Sun Belt Championship, which helped secure their spot in the CFP. Hopefully this committee doesn't come out and just say it's Duke.
It might.
Speaking of Duke did win the ACC. And listen, you know what? I'm going to take that back. I truly don't care if they put Duke in because, you know what, at this point, we root for chaos. And it would just be absolute madness that an 8-5 Duke team makes the college football playoff.
So they're going through the principles right now. So they have strength of schedule, head-to-head competition, comparative outcomes of common opponents without incentivizing margin of victory, and then unavailability of key players and coaches that may have affected past performance or likely will affect postseason performance. So that makes me think that they're going to rank Ole Miss lower. The fact that they put that in there.
Yeah. But I think they put that in there, especially after the Florida State year.
They had to. Yeah. But so, and they did say when that was going on that they did say that they were reviewing that, like that was a possibility.
Oh yeah, with Ole Miss, yeah, they said
when I'm talking about before the Florida State thing too.
Okay,
they said that after losing Jordan Travis, that would be
well, and then they made it clear when Lane Kiffin announced
they had to look at
that they were going to look into Ole Miss, not having Lane Kiffin,
and I think they did the right thing by hiring the defensive coordinator. Like pretty quick. I think, that shows familiarity. The OC is going to be able to coach in the game. I think that matters. But so maybe they only drop him like a spot or something.
Problem with hiring the D coordinator like that is I think for Ole Miss, that just puts a Band-Aid over what is right now. It helps save right now. Pete Golding will not, in 4 years, will not be the head coach at Ole Miss.
Well, probably not. But there's you don't know what they signed. They could have been just a 1-year thing. Like, hey, we'll try you out for a year
Here was something interesting. Before Penn State hired Matt Campbell from Iowa State, there was all the talk of what is Penn State going to do? Because they were the first team to fire their coach this year, and they were essentially the last team to hire a coach. I don't know how you were the first team to fire your coach, and you let all the candidates go by before you said, "All right, we're going to get Matt Campbell." But on Barstool, I think it was PFT that made. He was like kind of being serious, but he was making the joke of what if Penn State just left the interim tag on was it Terry Smith? Just left the interim tag on him through next year. Like, what if Penn State just said, "Hey, we're rocking with our interim coach all through next year, and we'll be first in line for a head coach next year, and wait to see what the targets are next year." And
could have done that.
We don't know, like you said, we don't know what Pete Golding's contract says with Ole Miss and what it's going to be. It could be a 1-2 year deal, but I do think that's interesting, because I don't think we've ever seen a team do that, where we've seen a team leave an interim tag on somebody and just say, "All right, we're just going to rock with this," but he is still an interim. We've not found our permanent. So,
like you said, you said it fixes the now, but it also, you'll lose some recruits to go play with Kiffin, right? But I think, even adding him as the head coach, I think that does keep some recruits, especially on the defensive side. So maybe they do that 2 years and they see, okay, let's see if he can, bring some guys in here to help coach the offensive side. And he'll probably call defensive side. But yeah, it could save recruiting a little bit is what I was getting at with hiring him pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's not been announced what his contract details as a head coach is yet.
I think they're trying to determine all that. But
it says reports suggest a new higher value deal is coming, potentially 5 years, $25 million. Well, see, I just don't like that. But and then the biggest one of the night. Obviously, the one that broke my heart. The Big Ten Championship, Indiana, Ohio State. The game was every bit as good as what we thought it would be. It was a wild, sluggish 13-10 game. Both defenses showed up to play. Offense, it boiled down to Indiana just made 1 or 2 extra key plays. Is what it boiled down to.
Well, and your kicker missed a fucking chip shot.
Dude, I don't know how many more times is Ryan Day going to allow a kicker to burn him. Like, I don't understand it. But at the same time, you can't get all the way down there to the goal line and you have to put your faith in a kicker, regardless chip shot or not.
Yeah,
you got to
but
be
you
able
have
to
to have in
score.
your back pocket knowing that your kicker can make the 30-yarder.
Like, but my point is, like, with Julian Sand, with Bo Jackson, with Carnell Tate, with Jeremiah Smith, you got to get it in the end zone. There's just last year,
give credit to Indiana's defense on that.
Will Howard, this is the one thing that everybody I like that Julian Sand doesn't turn the ball over a lot. He is a very smart, accurate quarterback that doesn't turn the ball over. But there's just sometimes with that comes that he's hesitant to throw downfield because he doesn't want to throw a pick. And that's the one thing I loved about Will Howard is Will Howard wasn't afraid to throw a pick last year. And when Will Howard knew the offense wasn't running, and he even told you, if it wasn't working at the time, it was when in doubt, just throw the ball up to 4. And I think Julian Sand's going to have to adopt a little bit of that, especially going into the playoffs. Listen, shit's not going well. The play didn't break down the way you wanted to. Go find 4. He's the best fucking wide receiver in the country. There's not very many DBs, if any, in the NCAA that can handle Jeremiah Smith. So when in doubt, get the ball to him. But we'll see. Again, I'm on the I think there is a little bit of I don't think Ryan Day went into that game wanting to lose, obviously, not looking to lose, but I think he held back on a lot of plays to not show the full deck going into the CFP. And I also like to think there's a little bit of you look into it, and again, you're not mad if you want to win, obviously, but I think there's a little bit of looking at that one spot and going, it's not a good spot to be in for the college football playoff based off matchups.
I think this is you coping a little bit.
It is 100%. But
I think they're getting ready to go through it though. It looks like so. Let's go ahead and all right. Here they go.
Indiana number 1.
You're ahead of me.
I don't know if y'all can hear this in the background, but yeah.
So Indiana's
going to be sitting at number 1.
So now they'll go through. It looks like they're doing the bracket, so they'll go do 12. Do you think they'll go through like that, or do you think they'll go to
1, 2, 3, and 4 first? They're going to put the buys up first.
Oh yeah, they did the ranking. Never mind.
Ohio State 2.
There you go. Number 1, man. Talk about Signetti as far as he's brought them, dude. That's still insane. As year 2, he's got them like that.
I think, obviously, we got to wait and see what Indiana does this playoff. But, I mean, Kurt Signetti's got to go down as one of the greatest hires in college football history.
If they somehow muster up a national championship this year, in 2 years, to bring back an IU program that was shit, yeah, yeah, for sure. He's up there now. Isn't he part of the Saban tree?
Yeah, I think he was like one of the very low assistants, but yes.
I mean,
thank you, Reese Davis. Let's go. Georgia 3.
Yeah, so this is kind of what we thought.
Yeah, which means assuming Texas Tech should be 4.
Yeah, Texas Tech should be 4. I do think though, if that Bama game was close, they would have flipped Texas Tech and Georgia.
Maybe.
I do think that. But Georgia pretty much.
I really wish ESPN would let Booger McFarland just go. I mean, I cannot stand listening to this guy.
Texas Tech, come on.
Yeah, let's go.
Can you hear the sound on my end?
Texas Tech. No, I cannot. So top 4 buys are Indiana, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech.
Okay, so we should probably have Oregon?
You'll get 5-5-12 matchup next. So it should be.
I'm saying 5 will probably be Oregon.
This should be Oregon, and this is where you'll find out as if they're going to somehow figure out how to sneak Duke in there or not.
God, I hope they do it. I want them to do it. They're not. That can't be that exciting.
Brother, they put Duke in here. Oh my God, shut up, guys. Come on.
Control your excitement, Clucas. Your anticipation.
Oregon 5.
Oregon. Okay. They're telling us stuff we already know right now.
Yeah.
They get to host a playoff. Can we talk about, though, like that play that I can't remember his name for Indiana that made that in the back of the end zone for when they played Penn State? Can we talk about how important that was?
Oh, yeah. Because we're talking about even at 11-1, if Indiana's in the Big Ten championship, but say the same outcome still happens, Indiana wins. You're talking about they potentially don't move Ohio State from the 1 spot.
They definitely don't. They even could have dropped Indiana to 3 or 4 with a loss to Penn State.
Who's going to be 12? No, they went to 6. Ole Miss.
I thought they were
6.
going to go down. They're going to go down the line. So, okay, so they didn't move Ole Miss. That's what I'm telling you. I
4.
think with them hiring some familiarity with the coaching staff, I think that helps solidify their 6th spot.
Which
And
Florida State
having
fans are furious.
Charlie Weiss, like they just said it, having Charlie Weiss come back, like we mentioned earlier, is a big piece. So 7 should be
7
what
should be Texas A&M.
Oh, Texas A&M, yeah.
Texas A&M. There we go.
Okay. Texas A&M. So now 8 should be Oklahoma.
8 should be Oklahoma, and then we're going to get to this 9-10 spot. Here we go.
Oh, no. Oh, they're doing a watch party. That's nice, Texas A&M. What year is Marcel Reed? Junior?
I believe he is a redshirt sophomore. So by school, junior, but.
Yeah, but damn, he plays pretty well for a redshirt sophomore. Talking about a Heisman favorite next year, maybe?
Potentially. Yeah, he's a redshirt sophomore.
Oklahoma.
Yep. So
all right, so now we'll do the 9 matchup with Oklahoma.
So 5 through 8 that are going to be hosting playoff games. For those not paying attention, have been listening, is Oregon, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Oklahoma. So now the next teams will be at one of these schools. They'll be playing on the road.
Yeah, your next selection will be the one playing at Oklahoma.
Here we go.
I think it's going to be Notre Dame.
Yeah. Here we go. Now we got to compare resumes with all of them.
Just keep
the suspense
on here. The suspense is fulfilling. Maybe they slide Alabama to 11.
No, you guys are Tulane. Where's Tulane and James Madison going?
They both got to go?
Yes. Top 5 conference champions.
Oh, there it is. Bama. 9. Wow. I'm shocked. Oh my God, I'm shocked.
Oh.
So maybe they leave Notre Dame out and they put Miami in?
No, they're going to leave Miami out, and this is going to be nuts.
But the head-to-head, though.
That's what I'm saying. Brother, they've had Notre Dame in this top 10 for the last 4 weeks.
That FSU loss is so bad, though.
You're telling me now they're just going to yank them out?
Yeah.
Here we go. I do agree. You can't just say conference championships don't count. You have to figure out a way that they do count against you.
You can't. Yeah.
You're still playing a game and you're still losing because you're going to give a team. Because if a team wins a conference championship, you're going to give them credit for winning it. Then you got to give the other team credit for losing it. Oh God,
Miami! I told you the head-to-head matters. I told you. So they're leaving Notre Dame out. Get in a conference, bitches. Why? They beat them. They beat them head-to-head. That's not strange. See, this should be a play-in game. Miami and Notre Dame, the committee should come out and said, this is too close to decide, just play. So now we're looking at Tulane and
my God, Tulane
Madison
at 11 and then James Madison. But I just don't. What was the point of the committee keeping Notre Dame in the top 10 at that point? Then
I don't know, man. Notre Dame's pissed. Now I hope Miami makes a run.
They got to play A&M. That's a tough matchup.
It's tough. Yeah, I mean A&M very well could have been.
And if they get past
like
A&M,
3.
If they get past A&M, you know what? For the sake of Matthew Spencer, a former Work the Crowd member, I hope it's Miami. Can you imagine if they just fuck James Madison or Tulane and put Notre Dame in?
They got a 3-loss team though in. That's stupid. It should have been Notre Dame and Miami. Now we're not going to get to see Jeremiah Love in a playoff game. That sucks. I'll be honest. Okay, so Tulane.
Yeah, Tulane at 11, Tulane. James Madison 10 or 12. I swear.
And their ranking was 20th.
Please put the wrench in.
Put Duke. Put the Dukies in there. Not James Madison. Dukes. So they get to play. Who was that? They get to play who?
So they have to play Ole Miss, which they already played earlier this year.
What did Ole Miss beat them by?
Earlier this year, that was. It was a 45-10 Ole Miss win.
Ole Miss won by 10?
45-10.
Oh, 45-10. Sorry, I thought you said they won by 10. All right, here we go. Last team, James Madison. Okay.
There it is.
So first team out, Notre Dame. Second team out, BYU.
BYU or Texas.
Oh, damn, they're all surprised they made it. You know what sucks is Louisville beat them.
I'm trying to figure out why I can't share my screen here. I don't know why it's not working. Oh, well. All right.
First team's going to be Notre Dame. Yeah.
Yeah, Notre Dame. And then I wonder if they're going to leave BYU there or put Texas out.
They got beat pretty bad. Maybe it is Texas.
BYU.
Nope. Okay. That's crazy.
All right. Well.
So the head-to-head matchup matters. To them, that's was the most important factor, right?
Yeah. Which is the right move. But
I think so.
it is kind of nuts having a 3-loss team in the playoff.
Honestly, I think I would have probably put Notre Dame at 9.
I would have
and
left, Notre Dame 9
Miami
and
in,
Miami
and then
10.
Bama would have been out.
Because again, conference championships have to matter. Because in theory, if
they win, they get moved up, I bet.
Right. So that's my thing. In theory, here will be my thing. If we're gonna stay true to this whole conference championships don't matter, that we're not gonna we're not gonna penalize you for a conference championship, then it should have stayed number 1 Ohio State, number 2 Indiana.
Agreed. Absolutely. That should have never mattered.
And I'm not saying that from like a fandom standpoint. I'm saying
no, you're right.
If you're gonna say we're not penalizing you, then you don't penalize them.
Yeah, these guys don't know what the fuck they're doing. They need.
It's like, because if Alabama wins,
wow,
Georgia would have dropped from like 3 to 6, and Alabama or to 7, and Alabama would have probably jumped to like 6 or 7, whichever they wanted to do. So you can't tell me it doesn't matter, because clearly it does. So, and obviously clearly it does because it jumps JMU all the way up to the playoffs. So, but yeah. All right. So let's do this quick, or let's do live reaction. So let's do a playoff prediction here. So we'll go first matchup. Winner of this game moves on to play Texas Tech. This is what I was trying to share my screen on because I have it pulled up, but for whatever reason it's not working. But so first matchup, you have going on to play Texas Tech, the winner of this game. 5 Oregon, 12 James Madison. I think this is pretty clear-cut, dry. James Madison's good, but Oregon should probably dog walk them.
I'll tell you what, if there is one of these matchups that's due for an upset, it's that.
Not that one.
I'm just saying,
in Eugene.
James Madison is tough.
They are.
In Eugene, I get it. They probably do pull it out, but I think that game is pretty close.
But I would go Oregon.
Yeah, I think I would go Oregon too. I'm just saying, if there is one of these first round games ready for a upset, it's that game.
See, I would disagree. I would think the first round upset just because of no coach would be Tulane Ole Miss.
I disagree. I think having your OC being able to coach the game, your DC is still there play calling. The players are still going to want to play and win this thing. I don't think they have any problem getting past Tulane.
And so next matchup, the 8-9 matchup, moving on to the winner of this game moves on to play Indiana, Alabama, Oklahoma.
I got Oklahoma. Miami's looks like shit last 2 weeks.
Bama's not looked good. I saw this head-to-head matchup at Alabama earlier this year. Oklahoma won. And Oklahoma's defense, now granted, the offense hasn't been the same since Mateer came back. They haven't quite figured out the offense, but the defense has been so good that it doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter. Yeah. And clearly that showed with Georgia last night. As long as you control the line of scrimmage, and Bama can't. They don't know how to pass protect. It looked like last night. So as long as Oklahoma dials up some defensive schemes, I think they have no problem beating Bama.
So then the 6-11 matchup, Ole Miss Tulane, winner goes on to play Georgia. Now I said I think if any of these matchups were to get upsetted, but I think Ole Miss wins this.
I think Ole Miss pulls it. Yeah, I think Ole Miss wins this.
And then the last one, the 7-10 winner goes on to play Ohio State, Miami, and Texas A&M. I'm gonna go A&M. One, having to go play at A&M is a tough environment. 2, I think the way that it's been shown that Miami can lose is when you have their defense is good. It's their corners on the outside that really kind of ruin it for the defense. And if you've got wide receivers that can make plays, a la like Chris Bell when they played Louisville, you got defense that can turn the ball over. You've got a good quarterback playing against them. I think Marcel Reed and A&M move on.
Yeah, I agree. I think Texas A&M wins that.
I think this is a great game.
Yeah, I do think it's going to be a good game. I mean, Miami has playmakers. Malachi Tony is the real deal. As a true freshman, that kid is going to be playing on Sundays.
Yeah.
In the near future. Carson Beck can show you that he has the ability to be elite, but he also has shown you he can throw 5 picks in a game. So if Carson Beck shows up, it's very likely Miami can win this game. But the likelihood of all that happening is rough, I think, for Miami. So I think for me, the pick is Texas A&M.
All right. So now we move on to the quarterfinal matchups. So let's stay right there. Ohio State, Texas A&M. I think it's a good game, but I think this is where Ohio State, they're going to come out angry after losing the Big Ten championship. They're going to take frustrations out. I think A&M wins this game.
Here's my thing.
They beat A&M.
Here, I agree. I do think this hurts Ohio State, and I think it hurts all the top 4 teams, is sitting. You won't play until January. I always think that's rough. I know when Ohio State won it last year. What seed were they?
They were the 8 seed.
Right. It's tough not playing for a month, not playing in game in a month. Practice is one thing, but a game atmosphere in a month is tough. I do think that game is probably a touchdown game, but I ultimately think Ohio State pulls it out.
So
that's a bad
real
matchup
quick-
for Ohio State, though, I think.
So real quick, so the scheduling of these games. So first round games are December 9th and December 20th. So not this weekend, but next weekend. Not this
Right.
upcoming weekend, but next weekend.
Yep.
Quarterfinals are December 31st and January 1st. So that's when Ohio State would first play their first game.
Yep.
And then semifinals January 8th and January 9th. And then the national title game is January 19th. So moving on, next game, Georgia, Ole Miss. I think this is where Ole Miss runs into the buzzsaw of Georgia.
If Georgia's able to control the line of scrimmage like they did last night with any team, they win the game. I mean, that's where you win most games, I think, is up front. They dismantled Alabama's offensive line. Gunnar Stockton did what he was supposed to do. So as long as that happens, then I think Georgia has a really good chance of winning.
So then next game, Indiana, Oklahoma. I'm going to go Indiana just because both really good defenses, but Oklahoma, if you can't put up any kind of points or, make offensive plays. Now, this is a tough game for Indiana because of the defense, but I think Indiana does pull this one off.
Yeah, I got IU in that. You got to be able to score.
And then Texas Tech, Oregon. I think Texas Tech wins this game.
Yeah, Texas Tech. Absolutely. They're playing too well.
That team's dangerous. And that team's dangerous for this next matchup against Indiana.
I agree. If you want to stay there, I'm actually going to go IU just because of their defense. And Mendoza has proven he can make plays. But it's going to have to be one of that. I think it's going to be a very close game in the fourth quarter. And it's going to be, Mendoza having to win the game for him.
It's going to be similar to what the Big Ten championship game was.
Yeah, it'll be similar to that.
You're going to have to make one or two plays down the stretch that just seal the game.
He's proven it.
And then on the other side, Ohio State, Georgia. This will be a fantastic matchup. And I'm obviously still going to rock with the Buckeyes. But again, I think this is a very close game.
I'll tell you what, I might have to go Georgia. Georgia's playing too good. I think, again, if they can control the line of scrimmage and get to the backfield to rush Julian Sain, I think you're kind of screwed. You're not going to be able to run the ball in Georgia. It's not going to happen. So Julian Sain's going to have to be able to.
Well, and vice versa. Georgia's not going to be able to run the ball on Ohio State.
Maybe. That's what I'm saying. If they control the line of scrimmage like they did, they will win those games.
So my national title resets the matchup, the Big Ten championship matchup, Indiana, Ohio State.
Yeah.
Your national title, you're setting up Indiana, Georgia. So I'll let you go first.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to go, you're already going to pick Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
So, okay.
They're going to get their lick back.
Again, I think this ultimately comes down to quarterback play because you're not going to be able to run the ball in either one of these defenses. Same deal. And I'm going to pick the best quarterback right now and the Heisman favorite in Mendoza. I think IU pulls it out. I think the quarterback play alone, that's what sets them apart. And he showed, he beat Ohio State. He made a couple plays, like you said, that put them over the top. He's done that a few times this year already. So I think they're ready, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and like I said, I'm rocking with Ohio State. Even off the loss yesterday, I feel just as confident about winning the national championship as I did before yesterday. So I don't feel any less confident. I didn't leave that game last night thinking, oh my God, Indiana's just so much better than us.
No.
So
I
still left that game with the feeling of Indiana got the best of us today, but Ohio State's still the best team in the country to me.
I think if you lose, hey, what did you say? What have you been saying all year?
True. No, you're right. To be the best, you got to beat the best.
You got to beat the best.
Now we're going to see it in tournament play. So,
yeah.
But,
yeah, I think Indiana's best team in the country right now.
All right. So, there's our playoff predictions. There was your live playoff bracket. So, yeah, this will be a fun playoff.
Yes, I agree. This is going to be a very fun playoff.
This is going to be very interesting to see how this committee feels about having two non-group of five schools in the playoffs and how they treat this going forward. So it'll be interesting. All right. So let's go next. Now that we got through the playoffs, Doug, Kentucky football is finally free.
Well,
they are free of Mark Stoops.
Free of Mark Stoops. they ain't free of losses next year. I'll tell you that.
No. But finally, Mark Stoops is no longer the football coach of the University of Kentucky. And finally, Kentucky has a new football coach in Mr. Will Stein from Oregon, who is hopefully, and I think is going to bring new life into the football program in Kentucky. And I think it's honestly, outside of bringing in Summerall, which he wanted to come back to Lexington, but obviously at the time when he was, thinking about the Florida job, the job wasn't available. So kind of sucks. But I've been saying this whole time, if you don't get Summerall, I want Will Stein.
Yeah. No, I think this is a great pickup by UK. He understands. He's a Kentucky boy at heart. I know he played at Louisville, but he's from Lexington. He's from Louisville, but he has roots in Lexington. His parents are season ticket holders of UK games. His mom owns like a bakery business there. Do what?
His dad played football at Kentucky, and
his dad played. Yeah, he has tons of roots there. He understands what Kentucky sports means to the fans. These the fans have been wanting a winning program for a long time, and Stoops had a couple good years, but ultimately not enough, obviously, in the 11 years he was there. So yeah, as long as he gets some good coordinators in there, he's obviously can recruit high level quarterbacks to come there. They're going to want to play in his offense. Just sucks that you play in the SEC. I mean, your schedule next year is brutal. So. It's going to take him a couple years, but once he gets his rhythm, I think with his ties in recruiting, they also hired Louisville's director of recruiting, Pete Noche. I don't know if you saw that.
Well, they also brought in Oregon's director of recruiting to be their GM.
Yeah, so he's bringing. It seems like he's been waiting for this head coaching
He's had
job
this all
somewhere.
lined up.
He's had this all lined up because this is happening pretty quick. So
he's hired. Sorry, go ahead.
I'm gonna say it's going to be nice to have Louisville East over there, and it'll. I hope Kentucky's good. I want our last 2 years. I mean, have been absolute blowouts for Louisville. I'd rather that game, both of us playing for a playoff spot, and both of these teams being good. I mean, that is ultimately what you want. So that's what
he has already hired. An offensive coordinator. Allegedly, I think it's going to be a co-offensive coordinator between two guys. They brought in Justin Burke. It's not official yet, but I believe they're bringing in Justin Burke, who's also a former Louisville quarterback, but has Kentucky ties. And then he also has ties with Will Stein going back to UTSA. And then they're also bringing in former LSU offensive coordinator Joe Sloan, who was the offensive coordinator with Brian Kelly the year Jaden Daniels won the Heisman. So I think Stein's going to allow those two to be co-offensive coordinator. Defensive coordinator hasn't been named yet. It was originally potentially going to be Chris Hampton, who was the Oregon DB coach. But Tosh Lupoy, who took the Cal job, is hiring him as his defensive coordinator. So he's going to go with his guy over to Cal. But so now the defense coordinator spot is open, and there's been a big name around here rumored potentially for that job because this guy pretty much got Will Stein into coaching, was Will Stein's coach at Louisville, was Justin Burke's coach at Louisville. If you haven't figured it out by now, one of the names for the potential defensive coordinator spot is Mr. Charlie Strong.
Louisville East.
So we'll see. We'll see how this goes. I think getting somebody like Charlie Strong. Now, I don't know how I feel about having this many Louisville people inside the building.
They don't care. No, they're football guys.
But would I want Charlie Strong as my head coach in 2025? Absolutely not. Would I want Charlie Strong as my defensive coordinator in 2025? Absolutely.
Yeah.
So,
and I've said this before. I think Stoops could go be a good defensive coordinator somewhere. Obviously he'll just take his money right now, but same thing. I mean, those Charlie Strong's defenses when he coached at Louisville were top 20 in the country. So, he had got a Sugar Bowl under his belt with Teddy Bridgewater there. So, yeah, man, that would be cool. I think the nostalgia factor would play in a lot. Even for Louisville fans, I think that would be cool seeing guys like Will Stein and Charlie Strong, come back to the state a little bit and being able to play them every year. Hopefully that stays on there. I mean, I would assume they try and get that done, but with the way they're doing conference schedules now, who knows? But might end up being like it might end up being in first of the year again. Might end up having to schedule it as a non-conference game first of the year.
Maybe.
But yeah, I do think that would be cool. if they got
there. And Will Stein's moving quickly, as we talked about, hiring coordinators.
Well, he has to.
Hiring all these guys, bringing all these guys over. He's moved quickly on grabbing some of these small recruits already. I believe he's already grabbed like 4 or 5 guys already since stepping into Lexington to commit. The big one that Kentucky fans were really worried about was, so they got a quarterback commit a couple months ago, the name by Matt Ponatowski, who is a 4-star quarterback, but he's one of the top baseball prospects, top high school baseball players. So he committed to Kentucky to play football and baseball. And actually, if you look up, let's see. So yeah, it says as of March of 2024, Ponatowski was the number one player in the state of Ohio for baseball, but one of the top baseball prospects potentially. But with the firing of Mark Stoops, a lot of people were worried that now Ponatowski wasn't going to come in. And actually, he is if you watch his highlights, the kid can, obviously as a baseball player, can sling it, but he can absolutely play. And people were worried about, is he still going to go to Kentucky? There was rumors that he was just going to go, that he's going to go right to the draft out of high school for the MLB, which he still can. He can go through the entire draft process of the MLB. As long as he does not sign that contract, he is still eligible to go back and play college football. But a couple days, one of the biggest thing is when they hired Will Stein, when Ponatowski was coming down to his top 3, Oregon was also in that top 3. So being able to hire Will Stein kind of solidified, all right, if he's still going to play football, we've got him. And on National Signing Day on Wednesday, he did officially sign with the University of Kentucky, putting to bed all those rumors. So yeah, I'm super excited for it. And I'm still interested to see if he's going to ride with Cutter. They did ask him about Cutter Boley, and he did say, I absolutely want Cutter on this team next year. But I'm interested to see if he, either A, has a guy in mind that he wants to bring in, or if he's going to bring somebody in terms of maybe not necessarily as a guaranteed starter, but to try to kind of push Cutter.
Yeah, competition. So, yeah, I think you have to have that healthy QB competition, especially for a new coach like that. I mean, he's proven to know what to do with good quarterbacks. So I would say he tries to bring somebody else in and let them battle it out. If Cutter was a job, then great. If not, that is harder to sell, though. I will say, if you're going to pay somebody to come to Kentucky, but you're not going to say, hey, you're going to start right away. That is a tough sell because these guys transfer and want to play. So yeah, I mean, we'll see how it goes. It's going to take him a couple years, but I hope he can figure it out. As a former Louisville guy, we want to see success as a Louisville fan.
Yep. All right, Doug. So next, let's talk about Deion Sanders in the state of Colorado real quick, because I have a story to share. So saw this video on TikTok, but it is from a USA Today article. Okay, this is about the state of almost really the whole Colorado athletic department at this point. So this is all these numbers are off a USA Today article about Colorado. Okay, so the University of Colorado Athletic Department is projecting that it will run a $27 million deficit during the current fiscal year ending in June of 2026.
Yeah, I saw that.
In addition to needing almost $12 million in institutional support from the university, over $2 million in fees from students, according to budget figures obtained by the USA Today. In the history of the Colorado program, it has never reported a deficit this big before, and it could potentially leave the athletic department in need of more than, hold it, $41 million in subsidies from the university itself, including institutional support and student fees. What this all boils down to, especially for people that, like Deion Sanders, who's done it his whole life, and, his money is his money. I'm not saying that but when people like that make a lot of money, they tend to spend a lot of money. And the unfortunate part is Colorado has not been good at football to make up for the money that they've been spending. And not only that, the biggest bill of them all, out of all this, is Deion Sanders' salary. And they just extended his salary and more than doubled his salary just a year or so ago. So he is set to make $10 million in 2025 and 2026. He's set to make $11 million in 2027 and 2028. Jesus. And then set to make $12 million in 2029. Because that's when his contract extension is through.
He ain't worth that much.
Okay, well, So his buyout is set at $33.6 million.
Okay,
and so each year it decreases. So it decreases by 12 million after this year. Then it decreases by 10 million in 2026, by 6 million in 2027, by 4 million in 2028, and 3 million in 2029.
They're screwed. Oh, they're screwed.
They're screwed. Because here's the other thing. Yeah, the easy thing to make up this money is to just get rid of Deion, right?
Well, not really.
But that's the problem is, while you're already drowning, getting rid of Deion would essentially wash your athletic department.
Well,
not just by his buyout.
Coaches.
I'm saying, but not just by his buyout, but because you get rid of Deion, let's be real, Colorado's a shithole.
For football, yeah.
So not by just getting rid of Deion, like, yes, you're losing money, you're bleeding with having Deion there. You are fucked without Deion.
Yeah, so I guess you have to keep him.
But $41 million in subsidies.
They're going to get government assistance somehow, probably.
But even still, that's an insane number.
Oh, absolutely. That's a big number. Whoever's running that damn athletic department.
I mean, at some point when you're getting these bills and stuff for everything that Deion and the football team is spending on, at some point, what do you go, hey, yo, we're not making that much money.
We're not good.
But I'm saying, at what point as an athletic director or whatever, do you just look at Deion and be like, yo, we're not making that much money for you all to be spending this? I think it's too late now. I think it's almost too late now.
Well, it might be a little too late, but you can't keep digging yourself in that hole. So I do think you have to tell him now, like, hey, we don't have this money to be spending, and we're already paying you, $11 million a year.
We're paying you X amount of dollars to win 3 games a year.
Yeah, we can't do that. I need you to win games. And unfortunately, they don't probably have a huge NIL fund, so they can't go out and get the big name guys.
Well, and that's the thing for Deion. Like, your biggest thing has been because you were able to get Travis Hunter to go to the Jack State with you. Your biggest thing has been you're Deion Sanders. You're able to recruit. Colorado ain't got nobody. And it's just like I said, brother, you weren't winning with Shedeur and Travis Hunter there. What in the hell makes you think you're winning without them? I kind of figured not maybe money wise that Colorado was in a bad state because of, having Deion there and, you have all this excitement and you're not winning games, especially really in the Big 12. Big 12 has got, obviously Texas Tech, BYU is pretty good. Arizona State, Iowa State, given the year, is pretty good. But it's not really a hard conference. But again, like I said, you're not winning with Shedeur or Travis. What made you think you were winning without him?
No, the Heat's going to have to learn how to win some games, or they're not going to have a choice but to get rid of him.
So, but yeah. So that's kind of the state of Colorado football right now. Again, that was an article written by USA Today. So, all right. So next, let's move on to the NFL real quick because, Doug, I want to get your opinion on something. Now, obviously, I put this in here before the Thursday night game, but I still think it's possible. But is it possible? So we stated at the beginning of the year when we did our NFL preview, and part of the reason why I know I did, I don't remember what you picked. Part of the reasons I picked the Commanders originally to win the NFC East was because it's been a long-standing thing that no team wins back-to-back years in the NFC East. And through 12 weeks of football, it almost looked like that was finally going to change, and the Eagles were going to go back-to-back. But boy, here come the Cowboys.
Mm-hmm. They're playing
here
good
come
right
the
now.
Cowboys, and the Eagles the last couple of weeks have kind of went into a downward spiral. So I honestly think, the Eagles would have to absolutely implode, and I don't think at the end of the day they will. But if I told you this is the Eagles' remaining schedule on the year, tomorrow they play the Chargers on Monday Night Football. Then they end the year with the Commanders twice, the Raiders, and then at Buffalo. The Cowboys, who currently sit 2 games back behind the Eagles, end the year with Vikings, Chargers, Commanders, Giants. Is there a world where the Eagles fall off and the Cowboys steal this division?
Yes, absolutely.
Wouldn't that be nuts? My thing is, again, it's just the NFC East. It has to happen, almost, with the whole no team wins back-to-back. But yeah, that's kind of I was sitting there. Obviously, again, I said that before the Thursday night game. They kind of got smacked around by Detroit. Cowboys made a late push, but it was too late. But I'm just sitting there like, oh my God. Like Dallas looks like, outside of the Thursday night game, obviously, looks really good. Like, that defense has made a complete 180 since trading for Logan Wilson and Quinnen Williams. You have 2 number 1 wide receivers in Pickens and CeeDee Lamb. That Dak has just been amazing this year.
Yeah, no, I think the Cowboys can definitely pull it out. I mean, we know we've been saying, it's not their year, never their year. Might be their year this year. Maybe they pull something out.
All right, and then we'll kind of run through these last 2 because we have been going for quite some time. But real quick, just kind of want to talk about the state of Kentucky basketball because I'm not in a good headspace with this team, Doug.
Buddy, you guys are not good.
This team sucks.
They're not good.
Like, I'm convinced at this point they could throw me and you out there and we could play. We could at least give more effort than what this team is giving. Like, I understand you don't have Jaden Lowe. Like, Lowe came back against Gonzaga, played on a minute restriction, and he's playing with a bad shoulder. You haven't had Jaden Lowe and JQ, and then Diabate's been out the last couple games. But, brother, the lack of effort from this team. And I think it's diabolical that Kentucky fans are over here calling for Mark Pope's job already in year 2. But at the same time, I'm not jumping on that train. I won't jump on that train till at least next year, if this turns out to be next year.
Yeah, so I will say, though, you spent how much on your roster?
I mean, I get it. Reported $22 million. I understand.
And you look like that?
Yep, I understand. But
I need to hire a GM.
Yeah, but the lack of what seems like almost kind of like Mark Pope doesn't even get animated on the sideline with the lack of effort. And like that would be like as a player, if I felt like when I played basketball growing up, if I felt unmotivated for a basketball game and I was kind of playing lackadaisical, if I saw my coach on the sideline was animated and, was fired up, was like into the game and everything, it kind of wakes you up a little bit.
Yeah, I think that definitely helps. I've said this from the start. I didn't think Pope fit the mold. I mean, yes, he's a previous guy, like from Kentucky, but he didn't. You can't go from Calipari to this. Like, that's just not the same coaching style. And maybe it's just, I mean, what'd you go to Elite 8 last year?
Sweet 16. And they lost to Tennessee.
I mean, come on. Yeah, second year. I get it. $22 million. You look like this. It's not great. But maybe they turn it around. This very well could go through SEC play and still be good.
Yeah. And
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, they could very well. I mean, listen, I will say if a fully like when Jalen Lowe finally gets healthy and they get JQ back, if this looks like a completely different basketball team with just those 2, then my God, I'll eat my words. But I can't imagine a world where just adding those 2 healthy players makes that much of a difference.
Yeah, I'm slowly seeing that because you can't shoot. Nobody on that team can shoot. I mean, you went
outside of Colin Chandler. Colin Chandler's the only one, and he's shooting 42% from 3 this year.
Well, that one. Who'd you play before Gonzaga?
Michigan State.
You shot 1 for 13 from 3.
Or no, not Michigan State. Sorry, North Carolina.
Yeah, 1 for 13. Was he the one who hit a 1-3? Or no, it was the big guy, I think.
I will tell you here in a second.
Well, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
You have to be able to hit threes in today's game.
Chandler in that game was 0 for 2 from 3 against North Carolina.
Okay, if he's your best shooter, he's got to at least make 1, or you're not going to win games. I mean, I don't know.
Actually, sorry,
I was watching a bunch of videos on this, and people kept saying, "What do they do in practice?" Like,
fuck if I know.
I mean, are they like they should probably shoot? They have no team chemistry. They look like they want to play one-on-one the whole time. They're not passing the ball well at all. And if you don't pass the ball well, you're not going to get open shots. That's just how that works. So they got to figure something out. Pope, this is on Pope. It looks like coaching. The players don't look like they mesh, and they really don't look like they know what they're doing. And it's on Pope. It is. I get it's a little too much to say call for his job right now, but Kentucky demands winning, especially at basketball. They've been like that since Adolph Rupp. I mean, that's the Kentucky name. And if you're not going to win games, you're going to get booted.
Yeah, I know. I know. But I just can't imagine just calling. It is on Pope. This is 100% on Pope right now, but I can't just call for his job right now.
No. I will say, though, I think it hurts.
Got to give him time to
going forward.
I got to give him time to, give him at least a chance the rest of the year to kind of figure this out. And then now I will say they find a way to not make the tournament.
It's looking like it's the case right now.
No, and it is. They find a way to not make the tournament. Listen, Barnhart may not put up with it, but yeah, it makes it so hard to watch them because it's not even good basketball. Here's the thing: if they were playing good basketball and they were just losing, like because you're
different.
playing because you're playing Michigan State, North Carolina, like you're playing really good teams.
Yeah, sure.
So if you were just losing but you're playing good basketball, I could live with that.
Yep.
But it's the fact that this team looks like they've never played fucking college basketball before in their life. Like,
yeah, you're getting blown out. I mean, Gonzaga beat you by almost 30.
Yeah, I mean, Doug. At one point, Doug, it was like 30-4, and then
really?
To start off, yeah, it was not good. And then the North Carolina game, which is probably the best game they've played all year, they had a chance to win. They went 10 minutes in the final 10 minutes in the second half without scoring, and you lost by 3. Brother, all you got to do is score twice in that time span, and you win the game. The problem with this Kentucky team is they don't, outside of shooting, they don't defend. They can't shoot. We already said that. They can't play on-ball defense one-on-one. So Pope, for one, is going to have to move to a zone or something because they can't play one-on-one defense. All right? They can't shoot. You got players that want to play ISO and aren't ISO players because none of these guys can create their own shot.
In the late, especially in the North Carolina game, the late game situation, you're not losing by much, right? You said you need a couple plays, right? That, to me, that's coaching. If you cannot dial up a play that gets you a basket, that's a problem. That is a problem.
It is.
And maybe it's you don't have a guy that can even do that. Like, he doesn't have a guy right now to go get a bucket.
Which is what the other problem is? This team can't fucking rebound to save their life.
Well, if you basically said they can't shoot, they can't guard,
they can't do anything
on ball, they can't rebound. What do they do good?
Nothing. They just show up so they don't have to forfeit. That's about it. And at this point, it'd almost be better just to forfeit.
I don't know about that. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I hope it's not like that. I mean, I don't think Pope's a bad guy. I honestly never thought he fit the mold for Kentucky fans. But we'll see. You never know. It can turn around for SEC play.
Good. And again, it could all turn around when JQ comes back. But and if it does, listen, I'm telling you right now, if Kentucky turns around and plays like the team we thought they would be when Q comes back, then go ahead. I don't care about a Cam Boozer. I don't care about a Darren Peterson. I don't care about a AJ Devanza. If that team turns around when JQ comes back, then JQ's got to be the number 1 overall pick if he makes that big of a difference to a team. Okay. So, but yeah. And then real quick, lastly, NBA news, Giannis potentially on the move.
I think so. I think he's gone. He wants out.
Listen,
he's going to go build a super team somewhere.
That super team could potentially be with those, Los Angeles Lakers.
That's what I'm hearing. I heard some rumors about that too.
I think, listen, best trade package I think the Bucks could get is with Atlanta. The problem is, does Giannis want to re-sign in Atlanta in 2 years? That's what you gotta like. Because if you're Atlanta, I can give you Trae Young, a young Zachary Risachet, and then picks, which also includes in that Atlanta pick the Milwaukee's own draft pick, which would be very valuable to them, obviously, and then other picks. But, and obviously OKC could do the biggest, fuck you to everybody and, give up all their picks for Giannis, and do all that. San Antonio's in the mix. But listen, the trade I saw via Bleacher Report, if the Lakers could pull that off, that did not include Austin Reeves, and you could run a lineup. I don't care who comes off the bench at this point. If your starting 5 is Luka, Reeves, LeBron, Giannis, Ayton, you can compete with anybody.
I agree.
Because who's stopping Luka and Giannis? Because it's just like Gilbert Arenas said. I watched the video. He said Giannis. He said if you put him, because everybody's talking about, well, if he goes to the Lakers, can him and Luka play together? Yeah. But 2, Giannis is averaging 30 and 11 with basically playing 1-on-5 because nobody is doing anything in Milwaukee. Now, and he's unstoppable now. Now you give him somebody that's competent that can put the ball in the basket, and where maybe his numbers drop to 25 and 11. You think he's unstoppable now playing 1-on-5. What if he's not the main focal point of the offense? What the fuck are you going to do with him now?
Oh no, that's a dream scenario. I know the bench would suffer a little bit with that.
But also we've talked about in the playoffs, you're only going to play realistically one or two guys coming off your bench in the playoffs.
Yeah, you're going to play 7. You're going to play 7 guys.
So you can find, and if the rest of that trade, I believe it would leave guys like Marcus Smart and Jake LaRavia still on the bench for LA. So those are 2 fine, competent in Jackson Hayes. So you're leaving yourself with a backup big, a shooter, and a veteran presence who plays defense like Marcus Smart. You can run a playoff series like that. And if I go into a playoffs where I go, my top 4 players are Luka, Reeves, LeBron, and Giannis, I walk into any playoff series against any team where 4 of the top 5 best players in that series are on one team.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I think we also, we're seeing the end of LeBron, right? LeBron's only got 2 more years, I think. And this is actually a perfect scenario for LA, because if you bring Giannis in, if you can manage his contract with LeBron's for the next 2 years, LeBron retires, and now you can re-sign Giannis because you don't have to worry about his salary.
Yeah, and you're still going to be able to re-sign Reeves, which means you still have a big 3 in the future of Giannis, Reeves, and Luka.
And they don't have to worry about it. I think it's a perfect scenario if they can make it work. And yeah, we'll see. Maybe it gets LeBron another ring.
Would love it. But yeah, great college football playoffs about to happen. As we said, we think the committee got it right pretty much, except for maybe you leave out Alabama and put in Notre Dame. But and then yeah,
let's go Colts.
We got great football, college, NFL coming up, NFL playoffs right around the corner. College football playoff about to start. So
yeah, it's a great time. All right, guys, that does it for us. Like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week.